Continuing from the previous episode 2280. Under the leadership of the fifth elder, the group swept away towards the depths of Tianfeng. Brother Xiaoyan, the atmosphere here? Suddenly, on the way, Zunar's reincarnation seal sent out extremely hot fluctuations more than once. It seems that the plants and trees here give Zunar an inexplicable sense of familiarity? What happened? Xiaoyan hurriedly asked with concern. I don't know, in my memory. I seem to have been here before. Zunar frowned, obviously recalling something, and her eyes were always wrong when she was talking. Have you been here? When Xiaoyan heard the sound, he couldn't help being a little wary. Zunar has always stayed in the endless fire territory and never left. How could she have reached the area of the Tianfeng clan? It should be because of the Seal of Samsara. Some hidden and broken memories in the Seal of Samsara emerged, making me feel like I was there. I'm afraid that Senior Zhu Zanhuo Master has something to do with this place. The next moment, Zunar made a bold guess. Well, don't worry, I'm here. And here, Tianfeng, Zanyao 2 clan. Zhu Zanhuo Master. In addition, the void around here is filled with indescribable terrifying coercion. Xiaoyan nodded, naturally aware of Zunar's worries, but at this time, that was all he could do. After moving forward for a long time, the line of sight suddenly became empty, and many of the guards that were originally visible along the way also disappeared cleanly, and even the air became extremely fresh, smelling a kind of refreshing feeling. The destination is coming. In the depths of Tianfeng, this is a bright holy place of Beizi with a whole body. A huge, deep stream emerges. The phantoms of different beasts with different expressions around the deep stream are carved on the rocks of the deep stream. They are like this deep stream. The oldest guardian in the stream, the guardian here. On top of it, there was an astonishing violent aura released, which deeply hurt Xiaoyan and everyone's minds. Gulu, such a terrifying family mansion. Looking at this deep ravine, the figures of everyone moved and fell away, depicting the number of strange beasts around them along the way, stretching for thousands of miles, with endless vigor. After a while, I came to the bottom of the deep stream, where birds and flowers were fragrant. A golden scorching sun was rising, blooming with endless warmth, and in this paradise, in addition to the basic trees and grasses, there were also a few stone houses emerging in the center. The whole body of the stone house is wrapped in golden lines, which is extremely sacred, and a splendid righteousness arises spontaneously. This is the core place of our Tianfeng, and it is also the retreat place for the powerhouses such as the patriarchs of the past dynasties. Now the patriarch is in retreat, and only the deputy patriarch presides over the major affairs of the clan. Feng Qin explained for Xuan and the two. Brother Xiaoyan, the feeling is getting stronger and stronger. Zunar whispered in Xiaoyan's ear. Fine. Xiaoyan's broad palm patted Zunar's shoulder, signaling her not to worry. This trip was all because of the reincarnation seal on Zunar's body, but if the Tianfeng clan was pretending to be mysterious, Xiaoyan wouldn't mind burning the place completely with a fire, even if it was reincarnation. Elder Feng, someone is here. Just after moving to the bottom of the deep stream, the 5 elders and the beautiful woman bowed slightly and spoke to the stone house in front of her with a humble expression, daring not to have any emotions at all. This is... Xiaoyan and Zunar looked at each other, obviously not quite understanding. There is some ancient power in the deep stream here, and the alien beasts carved on the rocks along the deep stream all contain a violent aura, and that violent aura suppresses the power in their bodies. In addition to the deep core holy land here, a strong pressure hits. Don't worry, this is the holy land of our Tianfeng clan. Feng Qin didn't think so. Come in, I've been waiting for you for a long time. The 5th elder's voice just fell, and suddenly an elegant voice came out from the stone house. It seems that this senior has long expected us to come. Zunar shook her head, as if she had sensed something through the seal of Samsara. The 4 walked gently and entered the stone house. There is not too much prosperity in the stone house. It is extremely simple and simple. The middle-aged woman sitting in the middle is graceful, and she has an unprecedented noble aura. There is a sycamore tree beside her, which is the most eye-catching. Even under the robe of this woman, wisps of 5-color streamers are looming, and the kind of power contained in her body can be said to have truly reached the world the terrifying level of Cam. The plane tree? 5 colors? Xiaoyan only felt a sense of dizziness in his mind, and then said in a daze. The Phoenix clan and the Dragon clan protect their respective races and intelligence extremely well. There are only a few words about the Phoenix clan spread in the world. Phoenix has a noble and clean character. It is not more than a phoenix tree, and it does not eat unless it is practiced. 5 Color streamer. Feng also. All kinds of rumors show the strength of the Phoenix family. Even these vassal races headed by the Phoenix family have the power of the bloodline of the Phoenix, and their strength is self-evident. My name is Feng Luan, but now, the deputy chief of the Feng clan, I never imagined that after 1,000 years, we will finally meet. The reincarnation of the 9 profound Fire Lord. Seeing the arrival of Xiaoyan and Zuner, the middle-aged woman stood up gracefully, and then approached Zuner with a faint smile hanging from the corner of her mouth. Old friends are generally happy. Xiaoyan was a little puzzled. From the simple conversation between the two, it seemed that Zuner was hiding a lot of things from herself. Moreover, what terrifying level has the so-called Feng clan deputy chief in front of him reached? With the current strength of Xiaoyan, it is impossible to perceive. The only thing that can be vaguely known is that even the overlord of the demon world, the demon emperor, cannot match the latter in terms of strength alone. As for combat power, it cannot be. And no, senior? Zuner frowned, and there was a burning sensation between her brows. Obviously, the 9 profound Fire Lord and the guy in front of him should know each other? Your Holy Flame reincarnation is still missing a crucial thing. The spirit of Holy Flame, the 5-legged golden crow. Feng Luan touched the branches of the plane tree beside her with her fingers, and then said softly, it seemed that she was in control of everything. Boom! When Zuner heard this, her beautiful eyes were filled with an unbelievable look. Her delicate body stood on the spot like an electric shock, motionless, and the golden samsara between her eyebrows began to impact Xiaoyan's settings little by little. Suppressed, began to revive, and the golden energy flame began to impact Zuner's delicate body. Zuner? Deputy Chief? Xiaoyan, the 5th Elder, and Feng Qin were all stunned at this moment. It seemed that the conversation between Deputy Chief Feng Luan and Zuner was filled with a very mysterious flavor. What on earth is it? Could it be that all of this was set up by the seal of reincarnation or the 9 profound Fire Lord? Please remember the first domain name of this book. Mobile version update fastest URL. Continuing from the previous episode 2281. Are you wondering why I know these things about holy flames? After Shun breathed, seeing Zuner's posture like this, Feng Luan's mouth twitched, and then she looked at Zuner softly. Could it be because of the seal of reincarnation? At this time, Zuner, her silver teeth clenched lightly and stared at Feng Luan. This guy's strength is mysterious and unpredictable, and just by skimming it, he will find out all the details of his reincarnation seal. Could it be because of the reincarnation seal? It is true that there is an element of reincarnation, but to be precise, it is because of the senior Zhu Zan Huo master. Feng Luan's expression was blurred, as if she had drawn some bad memories. 9 profound Fire Lord? At this time, Xiaoyan also suddenly noticed something, and his expression became vigilant. Zhu Zan Hoju is the great power of heaven and earth, and he is kind to our Feng family. As early as when he left Feng, he had left a prophecy that his reincarnation would one day come here and complete his future. Wish. Don't worry, we are not malicious. Feng Luan looked at Zuner firmly. The reincarnation mark that started to flicker between the eyebrows sent out a hot wave. Obviously what this guy said was true. Zuner. At this moment, Xiaoyan couldn't help but scolded with some anger. It wasn't until this moment that Xiaoyan was sure that Zuner had kept a lot of information about the seal of reincarnation from herself. Even if she knew that the latter was out of good intentions, this kind of thing was very involved, so Xiaoyan couldn't help but feel a little bit of anger in his heart. As for the reincarnation seal, once something happens, I am afraid that you will never be able to enter the reincarnation, and the price is too heavy. Brother Xiaoyan, I'm sorry. Zuner just doesn't want you to add more burdens. Zuner shook her head. Obviously, at this point, she couldn't hide it any longer. Zhuzan Chong Mingan was indeed created by the predecessors of Zhuzan Huo Master, and since ancient times, there has been only one master. After countless years of research, Senior Zhuzan Huo Master combined the power of Holy Flame with the energy of heaven and earth, and then gave birth to a divine tool. 5-legged golden crow. It is not only the spirit of Holy Flame, but also a weapon. Zuner gritted her teeth, and said with the gesture of a little daughter who admitted her mistake. The five-legged golden crow is not only the spirit of holy flame, but also the 17th ranked divine artifact under the human world in the Great Thousand World. Its power, combined with the seal of reincarnation, holy flame, etc. in your body, the power will probably reach a whole new level. At this time, Feng Luan Zaidu delivered a very shocking message, and her eyes became hot as she spoke. Obviously, even with her strength, she still had a sense of strength when facing an opponent like her mouth. Feeling of powerlessness. With the blessing of the divine weapon, the holy flame, and the seal of reincarnation, this girl's strength will probably be outrageous. God! A divine weapon? The five elders Fengchen looked at each other and exclaimed, "This kind of thing has never even been heard of by them. It is simply too appalling." The 17th artifact? A look of shock flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes, and he muttered. That senior once made a huge mistake. Perhaps this mistake needs to be filled by you. But the anger of the Phoenix family can't be quelled so easily. Now this girl's reincarnation seal has been loosened. If you want to solve the reincarnation seal, you must acquire the five-legged golden crow before you are qualified to go to the Phoenix clan. Feng Luan's deputy patriarch had a gloomy expression, and his memory emerged, and he actually talked a lot. Senior, don't give up. Although Xiao Yan felt a lot of resentment in his heart, seeing Zunar's uncomfortable appearance because of the seal of reincarnation, he couldn't help speaking. The 9 profound Fire Lord once went deep into the area of the Phoenix clan, and we have no way of knowing what happened, but since then, the Phoenix clan has hated the 9 profound Fire Lord very much, and even when he left, several elders in the clan heard too high. Let's make a joint move and make his five-legged golden Wuyang town here. Our Tianfeng clan and Zanyao clan have been guarding for generations, but the Zanyao clan already knew the origin of our clan and the 9 profound Fire Lord, so they imprisoned the five-legged golden crow alone. It's also because of the previous 9 profound Fire Lord, the entrance to the Phoenix clan's territory from the Tianfeng territory was blocked, so they could only find a breakthrough from the five-legged golden crow. Feng Luan opened her mouth, and there was a hint of urgency in her voice. Senior, do you want to let us sneak into the Zanyao clan secretly, and then wait for an opportunity? Hearing Feng Luan's words, Xiao Yan suddenly spoke up. What a clever boy. The strength of our Tianfeng clan is much more tyrannical than that of the Zanyao clan, but the five-legged golden crow, as a divine weapon, is too powerful, so it has been binding us all the time. Dare to live more right and wrong. Speaking of this, Feng Luan's eyes suddenly only stared at Xiao Yan, as if he was investigating something. What is the strength of the Zanyao clan? Xiao Yan and Zunar looked at each other and asked. The strongest among the Zanyao clan is only 5th level, and because the region guarding the five-legged golden crow is unique, there is only one 3rd-level guardian who exists. Feng Luan naturally had a thorough grasp of these information, and after Xiao Yan had traces of his actions, he was willing to speak. Elder Feng, I'm afraid this needs to be considered. Xiao Yan's strength is only close to the peak of reincarnation. If he rashly enters the protected area of the Zanyao clan, he is not sure. Seeing this, the 5 elders on the side had their eyes locked tightly and hurriedly said, Why not? Holy Flame, Samsara, with the blessing of so many ancient powers, if you are still a cowardly fool, you will have the sustenance and expectations of those strong people. Although this guy has a lot of power, compared with the younger generation in my clan, I am afraid there is still some gap. The 5th elder shook his head. As existences of their level, there are naturally many things to consider. Brother Xiao Yan, Zunar came over and was also a little worried. After all, it was the triple reincarnation level. In the reincarnation level, the gap between each small level was like a gulf. The matter of the reincarnation seal cannot be delayed. I'm afraid this can only be the case. I hope Senior will show you the way. Xiao Yan clasped his fists and asked, for the sake of Zunar, not to mention the mere 3rd-level reincarnation, even if it was a 4th level, I am afraid Xiao Yan would not have any hesitation. It's a good one who turned into a red face when he was angry. Then I will show you the way. Feng Luan looked at Xiao Yan and Zunar with a look of admiration, and then said, Hey, wait a minute, although what the deputy chief said is very true. But the internal affairs of my Tianfeng clan should not trouble an outsider. Furthermore, the mere reincarnation, in my humble opinion, is not the opponent of the guardians of the Zanyao clan. While discussing the last step in the stone house, a majestic fiery red flame turned into energy ripples and swept up. There were gusts of wind in the forest along the way, and a young man, with a faint voice, stepped in directly from the outside. Please remember the first domain name of this book. Mobile version update fastest URL. Continuing from the previous episode 2282. Wang Qian? After seeing this man appear, Feng Qin's beauty was filled with a deep fear. The Tianfeng clan has followed the tradition of the Phoenix clan, with women being phoenixes and men being phoenixes. Your Excellency is an outsider, so don't meddle in the internal affairs of our Tianfeng clan, otherwise it's easy to get into trouble. Huang Tian walked out of the stone house with light footsteps, and a huge pressure spread on his body, which turned out to be an inexplicable pressure on Xiaoyan. The gloomy complexion looks extremely gloomy, but the terrifying aura on his body is obviously an extraordinary person. A quasi-double reincarnation stage? Xiaoyan frowned. The man in front of him gave him a very heavy sense of danger. With this strength, his identity was beyond doubt. Wang Tian, don't make a fool of yourself. You can't handle such a big event. Deputy Patriarch Feng Luan watched the latter arrive, and made a stern look of scolding, but he had other plans in his heart. Deputy Patriarch, as the leader of the younger generation of the Tianfeng clan, I should stand up at this time, and the original plan was also executed by me. Don't be confused by some superficial phenomena. After all, this kind of thing is related to the future of our Tianfeng clan. If you let an outsider execute it, it will be difficult to convince the public. The man opened his mouth in an orderly manner. The confidence hidden in his voice was extremely tyrannical, and the expression on his eyebrows was full of pride. Brother Xiaoyan, this guy. Zuner leaned over and said faintly, this guy's strength is no trivial matter. He is definitely not a simple person. Wang Tian, is this your attitude when talking to the deputy chief? The fifth elder shouted angrily, this Wang Tian occupies his own talent, and it is not a second time to be so arrogant. Xiaoyan, you should have seen the current situation. Wang Tian is the leader of the younger generation of our Tianfeng clan, with a quasi-double reincarnation level. The next moment, Feng Luan's deputy patriarch's expression suddenly became strange, and then he stared at Xiaoyan and said, the meaning is very clear. Since Brother Wang Tian is so confident, I wonder if you can learn from me? Xiaoyan, the owner of the Endless Fire Territory. Seeing this, Xiaoyan rolled his eyes slightly, then folded his hands and smiled. What? You want to challenge me with this strength? The disdain on Huang Tian's face slowly disappeared, replaced by a sarcastic smile. The difference between the quasi-reincarnation peak and the quasi-double reincarnation level cannot be offset by other external forces. Deputy Chief, this is not good, right? The fifth elder said with some doubts, as if he wanted to stop the competition. The strength of the two is too different, and there is no need for a contest. It's okay. Deputy Patriarch Feng Luan shook his head, but he had some expectations in his heart, because the legends he knew in the past were just legends, and only by seeing Xiaoyan's strength clearly through this battle can he decide whether to let him sneak into the forbidden area of the Zanyao clan to save the five-legged golden crow. Otherwise, his status as the lord of the Endless Fire Territory alone is worthy of his solemn treatment. The protection of the Demon Emperor and other powerhouses has been firmly established, and when those guys join forces, the little Tianfeng clan can't bear the majestic anger. Since you insist on doing this, then I will give you a chance. If you can hold on for 100 rounds in my hands, I will admit your strength, and I will not mention this plan. On the contrary, Huang Tian's eyes were cold, and he stared at Xiaoyan with a cold light. As the proud son of the Tianfeng family, he had already witnessed the defeat of too many geniuses. The strength of those geniuses was even more tyrannical in comparison, but he was still defeated by himself. In hand. It doesn't take more than 100 times. Within 3 moves, if you successfully resist, Xiaoyan will not mention it. On the contrary, Brother Huang Tian, please shut up. Xiaoyan looked at Huang Tian with a dazzling gaze, and a majestic fighting spirit permeated out. It turned out that Ling's Huang Tian's skin was slightly erected, as if some terrifying power spread out. 3 moves? Don't look down on people. I'm the proud son of the dignified Tianfeng clan, isn't it? Hearing Xiaoyan's arrogant voice, the corners of Huang Tian's mouth shrank, and a wave of anger spread out. Isn't he the proud son of the dignified Heavenly Phoenix clan, a little endless fire territory lord can be comparable? It seems that I have to teach this ignorant kid a lesson. I came to the Feng clan to relieve Zuner from the reincarnation seal in her body. I have no interest in knowing about other things. Comparison or not, Xiao Yan said lazily. He didn't have time to listen to Huang Tian's heroic deeds. Tiny fellow, I will make you pay for your arrogance. Get out! The two figures swept out of the stone house at the same time and came to an open area in the forest with an area of 100 meters. This is obviously the place where some powerhouses in the deep stream compete daily. Deputy Chief, will this be too reckless? The 5 elders and several others hurriedly followed out, and said with some worry. Shush. The two figures stood still on the ground at the same time. Xiao Yan carried a faint smile on the corner of his mouth, his eyes fixed on the opposite Huang Tian. The power in his body had become surging. All respect needs to be confirmed by his own strength. Xiao Yan has known this since ancient times. Let's start, don't waste time. After a while, the smile on Huang Tian's face became brighter and brighter. Xiao Yan walked out slowly, and with the movement of his steps, circles of brilliant energy fluctuations invaded like ripples, and the terrifying energy made the world become hot. After the splendid energy invaded, it lingered on Xiao Yan's surface in the blink of an eye, and circles of splendid flames of light were looming on the ground under his feet, and there was an ancient scorching wave in it, which was suffocating. Above the splendid light wheel, in addition to the basic reincarnation power, there is an ancient wave. The power of holy flame. Humph. Sacred flame is a sacred object of heaven and earth, but your strength is not enough to make me jealous. Huang Tian looked at Xiao Yan's terrifying energy fluctuations in front of him with a gleam of light in his eyes, and then the corners of his mouth raised a contemptuous arc, and he was also extremely envious of Xiao Yan's holy flame. Xiao Yan, be careful. Although Wang Tian is arrogant and domineering, his strength is beyond doubt. On the side, Feng Qian said worriedly, Don't worry, brother Xiao Yan is really good. Zuner smiled slightly, her beautiful eyes projecting towards the field. 5 flame lotus seeds. The Buddha's wrath reincarnates. Xiao Yan's face was expressionless. He let out a low roar. The gorgeous flames suddenly shot out 5 colors, and then countless gorgeous flames emerged, forming a beautiful and exquisite lotus seed in front of his chest. The lotus is divided into 5 pieces, and the 5 colors flow, and the little lotus lies quietly in it, like the most perfect masterpiece of heaven, and even each lotus seed on the lotus body contains a flame of different nature. For a moment, the void trembled slightly. How come? At this moment, seeing Xiao Yan using such a terrifying trick from the very beginning, Huang Tian's expression couldn't help but become solemn. This deep space is extremely stable, enough to support the battle of the powerhouses such as the Deputy Chief. How could this quasi-reincarnation of Xiao Yan cause such a terrifying fluctuation? What kind of energy is that? Please remember the first domain name of this book. Mobile version update fastest URL. Continuing from the previous episode 2283. Kill. The low roar filled with terrifying killing intent. Xiao Yan's body moved like a ghost, and the next moment, the lotus seed in his hand was gently lifted, the void distorted, and instantly smashed towards Huang Tian in front of him. In an instant, the void around Wang Tian was suddenly torn apart by some ancient force, and the space was imprisoned, making Wang Tian unable to use any power related to space attributes. Feng Ying Tian Xiao. Huang Tian's pressure increased greatly, and he actually smelled a creepy aura from this delicate lotus seed that was coming towards him. Afterwards, he didn't dare to hesitate at all. The whole body was invaded by fiery red energy, and countless lights and shadows suddenly condensed into a light phoenix with a body size of hundreds of feet, crawling in front of him. The phoenix shadow condensed, and wisps of fiery red flames raged out. The violent energy contained in it was surging, accompanied by bursts of crisp phoenix sings, which made this originally silent forest become lively. Shabu Shabu. The energy Feng Ying and Buddha's wrath were intertwined almost instantly. Feng Ying whistled, and all the energy of heaven and earth in the entire venue completely solidified. On the contrary, Buddha's anger samsara burst out like a hole through everything, almost completely ignoring it. The power of the energy phoenix shadow. Boom! The two clashed, and terrifying energy ripples erupted. Huang Tian's energy Feng Ying actually disintegrated under Xiao Yan's attack. The violent reincarnation of Buddha's wrath exploded directly beside Huang Tian. Injured, a trace of blood spilled from his mouth. The reincarnation of Buddha's anger is indeed a little bit worse. After the blow was over, Xiao Yan looked at Huang Tian's appearance, and he had a specific balance in his heart. Although the Buddha's wrath samsara under the fusion of the 5 holy flames is also one of his trump cards, at the samsara level, power is no longer the key to winning or losing. The fusion of holy patterns is the real method of pressing the bottom of the box. Guru, looking at the large and small scars on his skin, a strong sense of horror poured out from Huang Tian's pupils. The power of this kind of flaming lotus seed is too strong. If he hadn't cultivated the peerless fighting skills of the Tianfeng clan, he would probably have been defeated directly by Xiao Yan's first move. This Xiao Yan is very strong. What a terrifying attack. If it wasn't for Huang Tianshou's Phoenix method, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to resist the violent energy contained in the lotus seeds condensed by the holy flame. Even I felt a tingling sensation on my scalp. The 5th elder looked at Xiao Yan with a heavy expression. The power contained in this guy's body seemed to be extremely inconsistent with his own strength. Brother Huang Tian really deserves to be the core generation of the Tianfeng clan. Xiao Yan looked at the latter without changing his face, and did not seem surprised. After all, being the leader of a giant force like the Tianfeng clan was definitely not a simple one. Try my second trick. Guru. A trace of cyan mist lingered on Xiao Yan's body, and then Xiao Yan's skin began to undergo some strange changes. For a time, the surrounding air energy became thinner, as if some powerful force was about to come. This is the power of the dragon family? Seeing that the cyan mist on Xiao Yan's body actually turned into pieces of cyan dragon scales, covering Xiao Yan's skin and fists, Huang Tian's face became even more ugly. The Dragon Clan is the representative of strength. If the Phoenix Clan is not about their strength, they are definitely not their opponents. It's just, why does Xiao Yan possess the power of the Dragon Clan? Lu Li, Dragon God Transformation. Xiao Yan let out a cold cry, and the blue mist slowly spread, a heavy breath like a biting cold wind, deeply hurting Huang Tian's skin. Heavenly Phoenix Body. Until this moment, the contempt on Huang Tian's face completely disappeared, and the hot energy liquid rolled between his throat. At that time, the fiery red energy was sprayed out, forming a flame phoenix of only an inch standing in front of him. The flame phoenix had just emerged, and immediately stretched its wings, and a scorching halo of light energy spread out, filling the world with a strong sense of unease. Pick me up. Xiao Yan's eyes shrank, and the dragon-shaped claws were held in a claw shape, and then the glazed flame spread on it, increasing its aura to its peak. Phoenix roars. With the crisis approaching, Huang Tian couldn't care about anything else. Countless forces poured into the flame phoenix, his wings moved, and a crisp cry resounded through the heavens and the earth. Wang buzzing. Hearing this strange cry made Xiao Yan feel a little dazed, but fortunately, Xiao Yan had the protection of his soul power and spiritual power, and instantly ignored the latter's soul attack, and the holy flame dragon claws faced the latter. Burst away, and the void buzzes along the way. Peefed. The dragon god's claws fell, the glazed holy flame spread, and the entire forest was filled with a feeling of being broken. Crack. The flame phoenix was extremely tyrannical, but under the claws of the invincible flame dragon *** Xiao Yan, a shredding sound came out. No, impossible. Looking at the small to large cracks in the flame phoenix around him, there was finally a trace of fear spreading in Huang Tian's eyes. The golden dragon claws, wrapped in glass-colored flames, and if an attack of this level completely hits his skin, he may be seriously injured in the lightest, or fall down in the seriousness. Now, knowing that there are people outside of you, there is a heaven outside the sky, right? The victory and defeat had already been decided. The Deputy Patriarch Feng Luan did not hesitate, his body surged, and he came to Huang Tian's side in the blink of an eye, and when he waved his hand, a gentle force came out, and it turned out that Xiao Yan's majestic offensive instantly collapsed. Accepted. As the Deputy Patriarch made his move, Xiao Yan also folded his hands and smiled, and instantly put away his power. However, this Huang Tian is worthy of being the leader of the Tianfeng clan. Otherwise, with the blessing of his dragon claws and the glazed holy flame, an ordinary person would not be able to withstand such a terrifying ultimate move. I lost. Huang Tian lowered his head dejectedly and then shook his head, looking frustrated. Living in a closed area such as the Feng clan all year round, and Xiao Yan, who is always on the edge of life and death in the Great Thousand Worlds, are two extremes in themselves. Brother Xiao Yan, are you all right? The outcome was already decided. Zuner hurriedly surrounded her. Only she knew that although Xiao Yan defeated Huang Tian just now, her body had also consumed a lot of power. It's all right. Let's get closer to your business as soon as possible. Xiao Yan nodded, and then put his eyes on Deputy Chief Feng Luan. All right, since this is the case, then it is time for Kitchen to go to the forbidden area. However, the strength of the quasi-triple reincarnation level powerhouse is a bit terrifying, and the forbidden area of the Schwanberg clan also has a lot of confinement. Deputy Chief Feng Luan spoke with a solemn expression. There is only one chance to sneak into the forbidden area of the Profound Bird clan. If Xiao Yan succeeds, everyone will be happy, but if he fails, the outcome will be self-evident. Don't worry, for Zuner, I will definitely live up to my mission. Hearing that there was a trace of worry in the voice of the Deputy Patriarch, Xiao Yan also spoke in a plausible manner, trying to dispel the worries in his heart. Please remember the first domain name of this book. Mobile version update fastest URL. Continuing from the previous episode 2284. Now that the strength has been restored, let's start. This is the map of the Ice and Fire Underground Palace, a forbidden place for the Schwanberg clan. Please keep it. Because the Ice and Fire Underground Palace is extremely complicated, we spent a huge price to find its entrance. But I have to remind you that although this is a map we have worked so hard to obtain, there are dangers in it. It remains to be investigated. After recovering Xiao Yan's vindictive chi from the battle just now, Deputy Patriarch Feng Luan stepped forward, took out a silver scroll, and said with a frown, the intensity and urgency in his voice could not be concealed. Zuner's matter is urgent and must be resolved immediately. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered, and then he looked at Zuner aside. Now, there is no time left. Once Zuner's reincarnation seal occurs, Xiao Yan's heart aches when he sees it. Brother Xiao Yan, I'll be with you. After a while, Zuner looked at Xiao Yan's stern appearance, gritted her teeth and looked at Xiao Yan. Nonsense, isn't the forbidden land of the Zanyao a child's play? Xiao Yan reprimanded with a stern face, obviously not wanting Zuner to accompany him. You must go together on this trip. The power of the reincarnation seal and the holy flame in this girl's body may exert some miraculous effects at a critical moment. And the five-legged golden crow is a divine weapon. Even if you defeat the guardian in the end, without the existence of this girl, you can't approach it, let alone charge it. Deputy Chief Feng Luan said in a profound tone. Quote. After the 3 chapters of the Covenant, the matter here is completely over. Tear it off. This is a crack in space, leading to the forbidden area of the Schwanberg clan. You have 3 days. For 3 days, I will restrain the powerhouses above the triple reincarnation rank of the Zanyao clan for you. If there is still no result after 3 days, you must return immediately. This is the map. This is the hourglass of time. Go! Feng Luan's deputy patriarch twitched his jade hand, and the void in front of him was torn out directly, and the 2 key things of this trip were given to the latter. Peeved. Xiao Yan and Zuner pulled their hands together, and then fell into it instantly. Deputy Chief, will this be a little too hasty? It was not until Xiao Yan and the 2 figures disappeared and the void was closed that the 5th elder said worriedly. Is it too far-fetched to hand over the fate of the entire race to 2 outsiders? Once the 2 of them failed, the Zanyao clan would involve their anger on the Feng clan. When the 2 clans went to war, the Zanyao clan, with the blessing of the 5-legged golden crow, was almost invincible. Women's kindness. This is her reincarnation and fate. I hope they can succeed. Only then will we have the opportunity to covet the Phoenix family. Since the 9 Profound Fire Lords incident, the Phoenix family has not appeared for countless years, and even the space channel between us and them has been completely cut off. What happened to the Phoenix family, we cannot know. As for their trip, whether it is successful or not, it is an urgent matter, because the Phoenix Stone is about to be born. A faint voice sounded, and calm was restored here. Tear it up. The gloomy cold wind filled the air, a dark void suddenly twisted, and 2 figures stepped out quietly. What a weird space. The power of ice, the power of fire? Just came here, Xiao Yan's eyes and soul power worked together, but the feedback was an extremely terrifying tactile sensation. In the darkness, all you can see are pitch-black gaps extending in all directions, like abyss and mountains, like a bottomless darkness. The Ice and Fire Underground Palace. There are too many roads here. I am afraid that even the real Zanyao powerhouse cannot easily figure out the way to imprison the divine artifact. Zuner shook her head. This dark void was filled with a rare power. That power seemed to devour the reason in their hearts little by little, and the fear continued to spread, but both of them were carrying holy flames. Enough to temporarily resist the invasion of this mysterious power. Are you feeling it? After taking a look around, he found that there were no enemies or suspicious auras, so Xiao Yan asked Zuner with a frown. Not yet. It seems that the distance between the seal of reincarnation and the five-legged golden crow is still far away, and the induction is too weak. Zuner shook her head. The reincarnation seal did not convey any fluctuations. Let's walk around and have a look first. In order to prevent exposure, Xiao Yan and Zuner began to move in this dark abyss. With the help of the map, they did not encounter any creatures along the way, and they swept away to the depths of the Ice and Fire Palace with great ease. This dark world is as gloomy as a purgatory that has fallen into the ground. The space is deep, and there are winds blowing along the way, which makes people shudder, but the two have not yet encountered flames, so they are also somewhat doubtful about the Ice and Fire Underground Palace. Peeved. After a while, the two followed the map and came to the depths of the Fire and Ice Palace. According to the map, this should be the entrance to the realm of imprisoned artifacts. The power of cold and cold ice, and this flame power is also different from ordinary flames. After walking to some mountain streams in the dark abyss, Xiao Yan and Zuner stopped together, staring at the intersection of the transparent river and the flame in front of them. A long-lost heart palpitation emanated. According to Feng Luan's map guide, this is the entrance to the forbidden area of the Zanyao clan, and it is also the area where the five-legged golden crow is imprisoned. A long colorless river flows quietly, and above the river, there are wisps of fiery red flames looming, which looks extremely strange. The space here should be in the underground of the Zanyao clan, and there are some hidden auras that are extremely extraordinary. Let's be careful. Xiao Yan smiled slightly, looked at the entrance and said, "Well, the fluctuations of the reincarnation seal also emanate from here." Zuner nodded sweetly, her slender eyelashes flickering constantly, so that the reincarnation mark between the eyebrows released a touch of golden light, which kept hitting her delicate body. Xiao Yan stepped into the icy cold with one step, and bursts of white cold air gushed out from under his feet. Wong buzzing. Fortunately, the glass-colored flames burst out in time and instantly covered Xiao Yan's body, and the cold just weakened a little. Otherwise the extremely icy power just now would be enough to turn him into an ice sculpture. Wong buzzing. Walking on the surface of the colorless river, no matter how hot the fiery red flames erupted, it was not worth mentioning to the two of them. Whoa! With a sound, the colorless river and flames intertwined, and the void on the river was slightly distorted, instantly swallowing the two of them in. So far, Xiao Yan and the two have also entered the core of the Ice and Fire Underground Palace, where the five-legged golden crow was suppressed. Bang bang bang. Is that the smell of the master? Suddenly, in the dark void, a dead lake surface suddenly boiled and trembled, and countless water columns rose from under the already frozen lake surface, causing countless splashes of water in the void. At the same time, a rare beast growled, accompanied by a golden flame that was enough to burn the void, resounding through the sky. Please remember the first domain name of this book. Mobile version update fastest URL.